I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So the last couple of videos had some titans walking down a street. I have since doubled my street, essentially. So I'm gonna put a couple of chests in this little town thing to act like suitcases that some of our fearless groupings will have to pick up and hold on to for the duration of the game. So let's meet our contestants now. So first, we have this small grouping of Night Lords, led by this Master of Executions, and 3 squads of 5 Space Marines, this guy with the Power Fist, and an autocannon back there. You got the aspiring champion with the Power Chain Axe, and a heavy bolter, and the veteran guy, aspiring champion, has an Astartes chainsword, and the heavy weapon is the Flamer. 3 bikers, 2 greater possessed, 2 obliterators, and the obligatory cultist, crappy cultist. So, yep. Night Lords. And also going for the chests, we have these Necrons, led by a Cryptek. I guess he's a Technomancer now. 3 5-man squads of Immortals with Tesla carbines. And then the Heavy Destroyers. I guess I'm going to start calling them the Heavy Destroyers of Doom. But the Enmitic Exterminator, and then the 2 with the God's Destructors. So they're going to be trying to grab and hold on to these chests. Once a unit has one in their possession, one of their guys is carrying it and can't shoot or fight. If everyone in the squad dies, then the chest drops to the ground until someone else can pick it up. We're going to go till 5 rounds, so whoever has the most chests at the end of 5 rounds wins. Obviously, if one team wipes the other team, then they win, but I don't actually anticipate that happening. Chaos won the role for deployment, so I'll go ahead and set up deployment, and then we can start this awesomeness. Okay, so the silver chest is down here in the rough center. The wood chest is over here in this corner, and the gold chest is in this corner. So the Night Lords got to choose where to go, so they chose this corner. So they got these 3 buildings here. We got the Flamer squad, the autocannon squad, cultists, the heavy bolter squad, bikers. A side note about this road the bikers are on. This is some dungeon tiles created by a guy who used to be in our D&D group. It's mainly just a remembrance for me to remember that there is a road there. It's just a side note. I guess you don't really need to know anything else about it. Because there's alleys and stuff. Bikers don't go in the alleys, maybe. Yeah, so. But that's the Night Lord setup. So in the opposite corner with their 3 buildings, got this Heavy Destroyer up here. Immortals ready to go out of there. More Immortals. The Cryptek, Technomancer. And their other building, the other 2 Heavy Destroyers, and the rest of the Immortals. Ready to go on up to that center chest right there. So we'll get into the Night Lords turn 1. Pretty much everything on the Chaos side advanced. The bikers just moved forward up the road. Feels kind of like there was a crossing guard moment here. All these guys crossed the road. The cultists kind of jumped this little gap over to this other building here. These guys made it kind of in the alleys back behind there. The only guy that's actually in range to shoot anything anywhere on the board is this autocannon. Can shoot one of the heavy destroyers in there through the window. So we're going to give that a shot. As always, the Necron dice love me, and he's saved. So nothing else is in range to do anything, so we'll go on over to the Necron turn 1. Well, in the best advanced roll of the advances, these immortals have climbed up here and taken control of the silver chest. Destroyer decided to stay there. These immortals came out of their building with a cryptek. This destroyer moved out of the building. This one hopped over to the next building. And these immortals advanced over to try and make their own run for the golden chest. I think actually this heavy destroyer is in range. I gotta check that, and if it is, we'll do that thingy. So this heavy destroyer was indeed in range of the squad of Space Marines with the Power Fist, and he did indeed kill one of them, so slow poke is better than no poke. Yep, that'll be the end of the Necron's turn, but they do indeed have a chest, so we'll go on over to the Night Lords, turn 2. Okay, so everybody continued advancing forward. This Greater Possessed and Heavy Bolter Squad are almost to the building where the golden chest is. The Space Marines, the autocannon that the Locust killed one of, and their Obliterator are just moving up. But the other squad has kind of outpaced their Obliterator. Master of Executions taking advantage of this shortcut between these ruined buildings here to try and get to the center. Biker's just moving up. And these cultists and the other Greater Possessed taking this back alley heading towards the wooden chest over here. Yep, people are in fact in shooting range, but I think it's still just the autocannon. So we're gonna roll for that. Just remember that only assault weapons can shoot after advancing, so the only thing they could actually shoot was the Obliterator right there. I shot at this Locust Heavy Destroyer and managed to save against the wound, so here we are on Necron turn 2. Alright, so this destroyer just is hanging out there. This destroyer is just going to hang out there. The Immortals and the Technomancer advanced forward. The destroyer just moved forward. These Immortals with the chest just hopped up onto the top floor to give themselves higher ground. They can definitely see a lot more chaos now. And these Immortals are booking it over here to the gold chest. There are definitely going to be some shots fired by the Necrons, so yeah, this is gonna. I do love the Necron shooting phase. I don't know how many times I can say that in my lifetime. Probably not enough. So, Necron shooting. Well, after the combined efforts of this destroyer, these 5 Immortals, and these 4 Immortals that can shoot, to kill off 2.5 Bikers. And yeah, this destroyer killed a Space Marine off the squad on the road. But yeah. So that'll take us into Night Lord's turn 3. So these guys are getting a lot closer to getting some of these chests. These cultists are about to act like Tusken Raiders and go through this gap on their way up to the wooden thing with the Greater Possessed trailing behind them. This biker has decided that suicide is the better part of just about everything else. The squad has decided to try and make the same passage that the Master of Executions did, with an Obliterator following them. These guys are just going up the road. And these guys over here finally made it. At least to the base floor. But next turn they'll probably have that. And they can definitely see these Immortals over here, so yep. So that'll take us on over to Night Lord's shooting. So the Heavy Bolter Space Marine killed 2 of these Immortals that are no longer there because the Obliterators killed the rest of them. I might be a little salty. The suicidal biker managed to not even hit the Locust Heavy Destroyer that he shot at. And while he's suicidal, he's not going to try and charge. So that'll take us on over to the Necrons turn 3. Only a little bit of movement, really. This destroyer left his perch here to come down to the street. The Technomancer hopped up onto the second floor. This heavy destroyer moved up onto the street, and the Immortals just kind of moved up behind him. That'll take us on into Necron shooting. Once again, the Chaos Bikers defy expectation. Survived the shot from the big gun, but the little gun from the heavy destroyer is the one that managed to kill off this biker. And this Locust heavy destroyer killed off the Obliterator that used to be over there. So that's definitely one less worry for the Necrons. Nobody's even close to thinking about being in range for charging, so we'll go on over to Night Lord's turn 4. So the Night Lords have responded by capturing their own chest. The Greater Possessed is sneaking around the corner here to take on this heavy destroyer. The Space Marines just advanced up. The Master of Execution is ducked around the corner there. The autocannon squad has hopped up here to take advantage of the shortcut and probably, shoot at them through the window. And the Obliterator has just tried to do the same thing. Over here, the cultists have snuck around the alley thing and are now at the bottom level of the last building with the chest in it. Greater Possessed following behind them. So we will get into Night Lord shooting. So these guys shot at the heavy destroyer and did absolutely nothing. The heavy bolter up here also did absolutely nothing. He fired his bolt pistol at this guy and did absolutely nothing. Oh yeah. These guys and the Obliterators shot at these guys through this window and also did nothing. So the Master of Executions is definitely going to charge this Locust Heavy Destroyer. Pretty sure he's the only charge. I'll measure that Greater Possessed in a second. I had thought perhaps that maybe this Greater Possessed could charge this Locust Destroyer, but he was way too far away, plus he's charging up a wall or something. No. But the Master of Executions definitely killed this heavy destroyer, so there's a trophy for the wall. Yeah, that'll take us on over to Necron turn 4. So for movement, this destroyer is kind of taking cover behind this wall as protection from these guys, so that you can definitely shoot at that guy. These Immortals and the Cryptek with their chest are just hanging out. These Immortals just moved up. This destroyer just moved up. So we'll go into Necron shooting. This heavy destroyer killed off the Greater Possessed. It looked like it was about to charge him. The 3 of these Immortals were able to kill one of these Space Marines. Between this heavy destroyer unit, dude, and these 5 Immortals, they killed 7 cultists. They're probably going to fail the morale test. Now let's just roll that real fast. Oh, that's not good. So those 3 remaining cultists just ran. That's a problem. Yep. So we'll go into Night Lord's turn 5. So these Space Marines have ducked around the corner of the building here to get eyes on this destroyer. These guys with the one chest that the Space Marines currently have in the beginning of the 5th round are just hanging out. these Space Marines have moved up to also go through this gap. This Obliterator has moved around the corner to get line of sight on this heavy destroyer. And the Master of Executions just ducked into this building. So, Night Lord shooting. So the Heavy Bolter Squad dumped everything they had into the Heavy Destroyer, and this Flamer Squad dumped everything they had into the Heavy Destroyer. Between the 9 of them, they did 1 damage. These guys dumped everything they had into these guys and didn't even hit them once. And the Obliterator actually did a couple points of damage to this Heavy Destroyer. So at the end of their turn 5, the Night Lords have control of 1 chest. So we'll go on to Necron turn 5. Okay. This Heavy Destroyer is not going to move. These Immortals are not going to move. He reanimated one of these guys with his little Technomancer reanimation right ability thing. And then he hopped up here. The Heavy Destroyer just moved up to threaten the Greater Possessed over here, while these Immortals advanced way the hell up here. So we'll get into Necron shooting. So the Heavy Destroyer here did indeed do some damage to this Greater Possessed, but failed to kill him. These Immortals made a number of poor shots at this Obliterator and failed to do anything. 4 of these Immortals did kill 2 of these Space Marines, and this Heavy Destroyer killed 1 of these Space Marines. So at the end of round 5, the Necrons have 1 chest and the Night Lords have 1 chest. So rather than going to the sudden death and doing weird things, we're just going to call this one a tie, which I think is pretty good for Chaos against Necrons. So yeah, we'll call it a draw. It's certainly been fun building these cardboard building things. I've figured out that I need to make 20 more in order to completely cover my 6x6 table, so that I can have a massive city busting kind of game thing going on. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and have a good morning.